In the winters on February 9, 1996, mother of Zachary Ramsey went to the police department to file a missing persons report of her son. She knew the detective there, John Cameron, who was her neighbor. She spoke with him and told that Zachary left home for school, but he never came back. Upon checking with the school, she was startled to know that Zach never made it to school. She thought that Zach may have bunked his school to hang out with his friends, but she waited hours and Zach never came home. Detectives then took all the description of his clothes, of what he was wearing at the time of disappearance and picture of him, and went out on patrol, looking for him. They were patrolling streets, parks, and wooded areas. After hours of patrolling, there was no trace of Zach at all. After a day, detective knew that it could be something more sinister, as a 10-year-old boy cannot be gone on its own until he was taken by somebody. Now, the dynamics of the investigation has changed, as it was determined that Zach was taken. Flyers were circulated everywhere in the city in the hope if anyone have seen Zach. Police received a call that someone has confessed for kidnapping Zachary Ramsey. He was a trucker, and police were holding him at the scene. A trucker that moves from Great Falls. It would be easier if he just kidnapped Zach from here and then leaves the city, or even state. He confesses that he kidnapped Zach and that he was a beautiful boy. He was saying sexual things but was not answering to any questions like where Zach is right now or how did he kidnap him. Detectives knew that they can't charge him with just his confession statement, as there are many attention seekers out there that would unnecessarily confess to a crime just to get public or media attention. When they searched the truck, no evidence were found that could link him to the disappearance of Zach. Instead, a document was found that confirmed that the trucker was in Spokane, Washington at the day of Zach's disappearance, about 500 miles away. It was a concrete proof that he had nothing to do with Zach's disappearance and was eliminated as a suspect. A neighbor of Zach came to the police department and said that he had heard a lot of screams and shouting from Zach's house the night before he disappeared. It was like Zach and his mother were in some kind of an argument. This made detectives to look closely to Zach's mother also, as before they were not doubting her. Zach's mother gave permission to search her house. Officers went there with cadaver dogs, the dogs that could smell the scent of a dead body. Just below the stairs, the dog gives a possible hit. Officers determined that there was rug that placed there which was removed. After searching the dumpster outside her residence, they have found the rug which had red stains on it. It was tested and determined that there was no blood on that rug. A lie detector test was conducted to see if Zach's mother is lying, but she passed and eliminated as a suspect. As the sun casts its gentle glow, the detective steers his patrol car towards the direction Zach was last seen. He walked in the exact route where Zach would go to school from his house. After a while, detective encounters a group of children. With empathy in his voice, he addresses them, inquiring about Zach's whereabouts. The children exchange anxious glances, their faces etched with worry. A girl steps forward, her eyes reflecting contemplation. With a spark of hope, she recalls seeing Zach earlier. Her revelation is a potential breakthrough. She points towards a way, which she calls a shortcut, recounting an encounter between Zach and a policeman. The detective was startled to note two discoveries. A shortcut. Police never knew that there was any shortcut. This is why it was never investigated. And then that Zach was last seen talking to a policeman. Was it really a policeman, or someone pretended to be one? There was a possibility that someone inside the police department would be involved in this. If that is the case, then the killer knows the law and investigation procedures very well and can use it to his advantage. The detective tirelessly combed through every inch of the shortcut Zachary was known to take. Within the depths of the dumpster, hidden amidst discarded items, lay a blue jacket that caught the detective's attention. The detective's heart quickened with the hope that this discovery could be the breakthrough they desperately needed. Bringing the jacket back to Zachary's distraught mother, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation and anxiety. The mother's identifying gaze confirmed what she had feared, that the jacket belonged to her missing son. As the investigation into Zachary Ramsey's disappearance delved deeper, a chilling revelation came to light. It was determined that no legitimate police officers had been dispatched to the area where Zachary was last seen on the day of his disappearance. This means that the individual with whom Zachary had interacted was not an officer sworn to protect, but rather an imposter donning the guise of authority. This revelation sent shivers down the spines of investigators, realizing the gravity of the situation. The investigator then went for a stakeout at the shortcut where Zach was last seen. Finally, they found a man wearing a police uniform. He was identified as Nathaniel Bar-Jonah and was taken into custody. During custody, he waived his rights and chose not to speak. They have no choice but to search for evidence to convict him, so they went to search his house. Authorities uncovered a collection of photographs and sketches depicting graphic and violent scenes, some of which included images of dismembered bodies and scenes of cannibalism. These images were believed to be Bar-Jonah's own creations. Among the items discovered were cookbooks and recipes that contained references to various meats, including human flesh. This further fueled suspicions that he had cannibalistic fantasies. Police found items belonging to missing children, including clothing, belongings, and photographs. This led investigators to believe he may have been involved in the disappearances of other children. Authorities also uncovered a collection of weapons, including knives and firearms, as well as restraints, ropes, and duct tapes, suggesting a potential intent to harm or control others. Bar-Jonah's residence contained a substantial collection of books and literature on criminal behavior, serial killers, and the psychology of violent offenders. He had possession of many butchery items that made investigators certain that this is how missing children's bodies were never found. Police discovered various forms of false identification, indicating that Bar-Jonah may have used multiple aliases. Pictures of multiple children were found that were not missing but lived in the same area. He even had a picture of one of the officer's son who was investigating his house. This means he plans everything before making a move. Police were now certain about Bar-Jonah's horrific crimes, but still they haven't found Zach's body or murder weapon. Going forward in this case without these two evidence could be very crucial. Authorities believe that Bar-Jonah kidnapped kids from the streets appearing as a police officer. After luring them inside his house, he molested and abused them before killing them. Then he butchers them and makes different recipes. It was reported that he hosted a cookout just a few days after Zach's disappearance, in which he cooked deer meat burgers for his guests. All of the guests reportedly said that the taste of the meat was very off, and he said that it was deer meat that he had hunted a few days ago. Police checked and found no evidence of him going hunting. He even didn't have a hunting license. Bar-Jonah occasionally hosts these type of cookouts, in which many guests reportedly complained about the taste of the meat. Investigators spent months trying to gather evidence to convict him for Zach's murder, but the evidences were never enough. Authorities feared that lack of evidence may get Bar-Jonah free again. This is why he was convicted of other crimes, including the attempted murder of 2 children and other charges related to child abduction and assault. He was sentenced from 130 years in prison, without the possibility of parole. The legal system's limitations can be very difficult to accept, especially when it involves such heinous acts. It's important to remember that the justice system is a human-made institution, and unfortunately, it's not always perfect. Advocacy for reforms and support for victims and their families is crucial in these situations. As we reflect on this grim chapter in criminal history, we're reminded of the importance of vigilance, both in our communities and within the realms of law enforcement and mental health intervention. The Bar-Jonah case serves as a haunting testament to the capacity for darkness within the human soul and the need for unwavering dedication to protect the innocent. May the memory of Zach Ramsey serve as a poignant reminder that, in the face of unspeakable evil, there exists a resilience within humanity that will forever strive to bring light to the darkest corners of our world. In telling this story, we honor the memory of those affected by Bar-Jonah's crimes, seeking to shed light on the depths of human malevolence in the hope that it may lead to a safer, more vigilant society for all. Support us for more videos.